A guitarist, John Abercrombie and his Hammond Organ Trio playing at the Manchester Jazz Festival back in July at the Royal College of Music. With John were Adam Nussbaum on drums and Gary Versace playing the Hammond organ. And the music they played, first up it was Jazz Folk, written by Abercrombie, then it was Round Trip, an Ornette Coleman composition, and they finished off with Spring Song, another John Abercrombie original.
I'm backstage at the Royal Northern College of Music with John Abercrombie. John.
Hello.
Welcome to Manchester.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Well, tonight's lineup with drummer Adam Nussbaum and Gary Versace on Hammond organ. It's a new lineup, isn't it? But
yeah.
Its roots are very firmly, aren't they, in one of your kind of most established bands, the one with Dan Wall.
Yes, exactly. It is the same. I mean, Gary is replacing Dan, literally. I mean, it's mostly because Dan doesn't want to travel at this point, and he was moving and his family, and he's teaching full-time at Oberlin College, which is outside of Cleveland, and he now lives in Oberlin. So he just was that's it. He said, I can't go on the road for a while. So
And presumably this is a change that's made quite a profound difference to the dynamic of the group. I was wondering how, how that's been, as a player.
I think the difference is that Gary is a more, I wouldn't say he's more interactive than Dan. He's brighter and more playful. Dan is a more serious kind of darker, not more serious, but darker kind of player, And I think it probably has something to do with his age and his experience, like everything else. I mean, Dan is is probably in his 50s, whereas Gary's yet quite 40, So there's an exuberance and a kind of like playfulness to his playing, and very interactive. He really listens like amazingly well.
What about the instrument itself? What about the Hammond, the Hammond B3? This is something you clearly, have a deep affection for because you keep coming back to it. And it's been a staple throughout your career, going right back to the 60s and your work with Johnny Hammond Smith.
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure.
What is it about the instrument that particularly attracts you?
Oh, I think it's what attracts all guitar players to Hammond organs. It's kind of a perfect match. From the first time I ever heard Wes Montgomery live with Mel Ryan playing organ, and I heard George Benson and Pat Martino with Jack McDuff when they were both 17 years old, and we're the same age. And so immediately that combination of guitar and organ was like, I was just attracted to it. As I think most guitar players, you'd be hard pressed to find a guitar player that didn't like the sound of a guitar and a Hammond organ together. If they don't like it, then there's something wrong with it. I would think, they need to see a doctor because it's a perfect match in a way. It's the sonority of the two instruments go together. It's like playing over a carpet or a bed of sound. Whereas with a piano, which is more percussive, people always say, guitar and piano don't work that well together. And I think in a group setting, it can be really difficult with guitar and piano. In duo, it's very nice to play just with a piano player. Uh-huh. I enjoy that very much. But when you add the bass and drums, a certain dynamic, sound-wise, happens that sometimes the instruments will clash, whereas the organ and the guitar never clash. It's almost like they were made to play together.
So have you plans to record with the new trio?
There's no definite plans to record with this. But I think it would be a nice idea to do it. I think the fact that I already have 4 CDs out that include Adam and Dan Wall. Probably, if I did it, it probably wouldn't be for ECM, It probably would be for somebody else, and maybe it could be under someone else's name. I'd love to record it, because I'd love to do a whole album of standard tunes with an organ trio. That would be a blast for me,
So when you make these decisions, how much of it comes from you and how much comes from Manfred Eicher? Because I know that you have worked very closely with him, and you obviously have done for many, many years.
Yeah.
I was just kind of wondering what he kind of, first of all, on a practical level, the decision making, and then secondly, on an artistic level, what he kind of brings to these projects, because people speak so highly of him.
Well, he's not very practical. And that's probably why we've worked together so well all these years, because I'm completely unpractical, and so my relationship with Manfred is mostly on a musical level, and I find that what happens is he has great instincts for when music is happening. And he couldn't count his way through a standard song or a blues. He wouldn't know what the form of it is. In other words, he wouldn't know theoretically what's going on. But he has this natural feeling for when things are relaxed, loose, and creative, even within a standard format,
If there is a kind of a real ECM sound, do you think that's because of the authority that Manfred has over what goes on, or do you think it's that people who want to make a particular sound know that if they go to ECM, that's where they'll find it?
It's probably both, and I think Manfred has just like the musicians, he has a certain aesthetic, sound-wise, and I think that started from the early records, and people knew, it was an identifiable thing. There was something about the way he used the reverb and the sense of space, and so I think aesthetically, a lot of it just comes from Manfred, and although I'm sure there are people that, if they're in love with some of those records, they probably would want to go to ECM because they think they'll sound like that.
There's a saxophone player I know who talked about a certain kind of pressure to conform there, though, to this Manfred Eicher sound. I was wondering whether that sounded familiar at all, or...
Well, I think Manfred's influence is, like any producer, whether they're a bebop-oriented producer or like Manfred, maybe more classically oriented, they're going to put their 2 cents in, So sometimes that can be rough, I've had some really down and out arguments with him, about how to make this record or what we should do. But we usually come to an agreement, But yeah, he can be, his authority can be strong. But I've worked with other producers that don't do anything. I mean, I've worked with people that just sit there and go, very good, next take, that was nice, lunch, you know, I mean, no input at all. And you know with Manfred, when you walk in the studio with him, you know there will be input. And I think I just think that's what he should be doing. I think that's what a producer should do, you know, he should help you make this record, you know.
I read that you had something of a disaster a couple of years ago. There was a fire, is that right?
Yes, that's true, yeah.
And you lost your instruments in that.
We lost basically everything, and we lost our home, and in that home were all my instruments. So a couple of them survived. One of the guitars was actually in the shop being repaired at the time, a beautiful archtop guitar that was made in California for me. So that still exists. Another was on loan to a friend. And an old Les Paul survived. For some reason, I guess they got it out of the house before the house completely disintegrated. But all the other guitars, I don't know how many there were, at least 10 or 12 instruments were just all. It looked like a Picasso painting in my front yard. They put all these. The firemen had lined these guitars up around a big tree that was in my front yard, and you know I couldn't tell which one was which. They were so badly burned, and they were just finished, you know. But I was very lucky that. The other thing is, you know, like realizing that they're really just pieces of wood with strings on them, you know, and if you can play one, you can play another one. And so as soon as the fire happened, people were offering me instruments. I mean, Pat Metheny called me up when I was in a shopping mall and just said, what do you need, you know? And I said, well, really what I need is money. I said, you know, but the offer was, you know, like, do you need guitars? Do you need amps? Do you need, you know, any kind of gear? Is there anything you need? You know, I'll get, you know, you feel free to ask me, you know. And people were really very responsive because I think they all realized that could have happened to them too. You know, a fire is just something you can't predict. It was an electrical fire, and fire moves really fast. So by the time I tried to go back in the house to get some instruments, I mean, there were flames like shooting down the hallway. So I said, well, maybe the best idea is to like vacate the home, you know.
Well, look, John, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Guitarist John Abercrombie speaking to Linton Chiswick before going on stage at the Royal College of Music in Manchester back in July. And here they are now with Gary Versace on Hammond organ and Adam Nussbaum on drums, the John Abercrombie Trio.